Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey everyone, this is Ring Authority News, your home for non-stop WWE energy. Subscribe now and let's dive right into the ring. What happened in the dim light of a backstage corridor has sent the entire wrestling community buzzing. Not because of scandal, but because of a surprising interaction that nobody expected and that might hint at shifting alliances, creative tensions, and unseen story developments. Cameras were rolling, security was watching, and the moment that unfolded has left fans with more questions than answers. Today, we break it down responsibly, with facts, perspective, and a clear understanding of how WWE's backstage world truly works, the tense atmosphere. Before a major event. 2 hours before a major televised show, the backstage area was already charged with pressure, last-minute decisions, and creative adjustments. Becky Lynch had just wrapped up a heated internal discussion regarding her direction in an upcoming storyline. She was focused, frustrated, and moving quickly through the corridor, the kind of focus that has made her one of the most dynamic performers of this generation. Paul Heyman, meanwhile, was also backstage handling his usual responsibilities, coordinating segments, reviewing cues, and offering guidance as one of the most influential voices behind the scenes. Their paths crossing wasn't unusual. What made this moment interesting was the timing, the location, and how differently both personalities were behaving compared to their normal routines. A private exchange, not a public segment. According to internal accounts, Becky Lynch and Paul Heyman shared a brief, intense conversation in a less trafficked part of the backstage area, near equipment storage where wrestlers often gather before entering the main production zone. Importantly, this exchange was not part of a televised segment. There were no broadcast cameras, no storyline cues, and no performance elements. Security cameras capture everything backstage as part of routine operations. But this interaction was not staged, not lit, and not intended for viewers. Witnesses described the conversation as serious and emotional, not romantic, not shocking, and not inappropriate, just unusually personal for two people known for keeping things professional. Nothing harmful occurred, but the intensity of the discussion has sparked curiosity about what exactly is developing behind the curtain. Why this moment has drawn so much attention. The reason fans have latched onto this moment isn't because of scandal. It's because of possibility. Becky and Heyman are two of the most powerful communicators in wrestling. When they speak, things happen. When they meet privately, fans across the industry wonder whether new alliances, creative twists, or major storyline shifts are brewing. WWE thrives on mystery, and whenever two major forces cross paths unexpectedly, the imagination naturally runs wild. Was this a conversation about a new storyline, a creative disagreement, a mentorship moment, or simply two professionals hashing out concerns before a live show? Fans crave behind-the-scenes insight, and moments like these ignite speculation, understanding the power dynamics of WWE. To understand why this matters, you have to understand Paul Heyman's history in the company. Heyman is far more than an on-screen character. He influences ideas, shapes promos, and helps elevate talent to their highest potential. His work with Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and countless others has cemented him as a mastermind of storytelling. Becky Lynch, meanwhile, is one of the most important performers of the modern era. She carries star power, fan loyalty, and a presence that commands attention. When two influential forces engage privately, it sparks discussion about potential creative shifts. These kinds of interactions can change the tone of a storyline or even alter long-term plans. Not because of scandal, but because of creativity. Recent shifts in Becky Lynch's backstage energy. Becky has been more open recently about wanting challenging, meaningful stories, something fans appreciate about her authenticity. She pushes herself, She questions decisions, and she advocates for compelling storytelling. That drive is part of why audiences love her. Her movements backstage have reflected a performer hungry for evolution. Expanded conversations, unexpected meetings, and creative discussions are normal parts of her process. Fans sometimes misinterpret these moments as tension, but in reality, performers often fight hardest for the storylines that mean the most to them. Paul Heyman's changing availability. Heyman's schedule and backstage presence also shift depending on the needs of the show. When he's not with his on-screen clients, he's often contributing behind the scenes, reviewing promos, offering direction, or helping talent refine their segments. His occasional absences from the main production area are not signs of trouble. They're signs of how involved he is creatively. Many times, he's simply preparing for upcoming segments or assisting talent in high-pressure situations. His presence near Becky that night may have been nothing more than two professionals in the right place at the right time. How locker room conversations naturally evolve. WWE locker rooms are full of conversations, brainstorming sessions, and unexpected collaborations. Wrestlers often meet privately to refine promos or discuss how their stories connect. A single interaction can spark hours of fan speculation, even when nothing controversial has occurred. The community thrives on curiosity, and backstage dynamics are always a point of interest. But it's important to remember, not every private conversation is a scandal. Most are simply part of the creative process that keeps WWE's product exciting. Why silence from all parties means nothing dramatic. The lack of public comment from Becky, Heyman, or the company shouldn't be misinterpreted as guilt or controversy. In WWE, performers rarely address backstage interactions because doing so would disrupt the immersive nature of storytelling. The company protects its internal operations, not because something bad happened, but because the creative process is meant to be private. Silence often just means business as usual. The potential creative impact of their conversation. Rather than focusing on rumors, it's far more productive to consider what this moment could mean for future storylines. A conversation between Becky and Heyman could point toward new alliances, refreshed arcs, or upcoming twists. Heyman's guidance has shaped legends. Becky's creativity has anchored women's wrestling for years. Together, their collaboration, if that's what this was, could lead to something exciting on television. Fans want long-term, meaningful storytelling, and interactions like this often signal major narrative shifts. Why perspective matters in situations like these. Wrestling has always lived at the intersection of reality and fiction, and it's easy for fans to blur those lines. But responsible analysis requires separating imagination from fact. No inappropriate behavior happened. No boundaries were crossed. What occurred was a private, intense conversation between two highly influential personalities. The story is not scandal, it's curiosity. It's about what these two might be planning creatively, what changes could come, and why their collaboration, if ongoing, could reshape the product in ways fans will talk about for months. The mystery continues. But without the drama. As the situation continues to evolve, one thing is clear. Something interesting is happening creatively, not personally. Fans should stay tuned, stay excited, and keep an eye on both Becky Lynch and Paul Heyman in the coming weeks. Whatever the truth behind their conversation is, it's likely tied to storytelling, direction, mentorship, or backstage planning, all normal, all professional, all part of the magic that keeps WWE unpredictable. The moment isn't a scandal, it's a spark, and that spark may ignite a storyline nobody saw coming.